to show you here today is our latest work in the CryEngine SDK. This is available to anyone who wants to play with it on crydev.net, free of charge if you want to use it for fun. And if you want to commercialize any product that you make with that, we just charge a 20% royalty. So what you're seeing here is our Sandbox Editor. This is where we control the entire game, and it's what you see is what you play editor. It's a real-time editor. Anytime you like, you can drop in and play the creation you're making. And we've been making real-time editors for almost 10 years, since we first started working on our Crisis game. Everything we've done has been real-time, and this is something that we've seen the whole rest of the industry move towards. Every other engine now is also running in real-time, or just coming up to running in real-time. Of course, we've been doing it for a long time, and now we've got this extra power from DirectX 11. We don't need it to make the engine real-time. We can use that power to do a lot of other interesting things. Some of those things that we can show you now. So one of the core features of DirectX 11 is tessellation. This is a method of creating geometry in a procedural way, a very low-cost way because it's hardware accelerated. So in games in the past, an object such as this you might see would be normal mapped and bump mapped, so it might look like there was detail there, but once you got close, it would be very flat. With tessellation, we can take that data, that information, and procedurally generate the geometry on the fly. So you see the details there in this wall. It looks very rocky and craggy. Now if we go to the wireframe, you can see what's happening underneath. You can see a huge number of polygons there, way more than you'd ever want to be modeling out in reality, and way more than you'd ever want to run in real time in a traditional render pass. Because we're working with DirectX 11, it gives us this ability. What you can see here is it's adaptive tessellation, so we can actually crank the tessellation up or move it down. Depending on the distance you are from the object, you might want to have more or less detail there. We can get it to a point where you've almost got more polygons than pixels, or we could take it down to the most simple version, and what you're looking at there is actually the basic asset that's been created by the artist. So it's a very simple asset, but obviously with the tessellation, with this process that we go through, suddenly it looks like something that has a huge amount of detail on it. We actually use 3 different types of tessellation. The first one that we've shown you there is kind of the most common, where we use for a lot of detail effects. It's displacement mapping. But another system we use is called PN triangles. PN triangles tessellation is a way of smoothing silhouettes and creating a smooth effect. It's very useful for natural things like skin or curved surfaces, where maybe you don't have all this kind of bumpy detail, but you want to create this kind of smoother thing. There's, in the past with games, you've often seen some objects where, the immersion is broken suddenly by the fact that you've got these jagged lines that you can see from the polygons. What we've done here is we'll pull in a character's head here that we're using. Now, if you look at the ear here, it's a good place to see it. You can see it's nice and smooth there. If we take that material into our real-time material editor, one of many tools that's contained within CryEngine, we can simply select the material and start playing with it and see the effects instantly for our artist to tweak and iterate. Now, one example here that we're going to do, so we're going to take this and we're going to turn the PN triangle tessellation off, and immediately you can see something that's like more of a traditional video gamey look. From the middle distance, that looks fine, but when you get up close and you start interacting with these characters, you see these kind of hard lines, and it just breaks the illusion, breaks the immersion. Click back PN triangles on, it procedurally smooths that out. It's a very effective way of adding details and smoothing to a character without spending a lot of your time and a lot of your render cost. Okay, so one of the other things you can see here on this asset is, it's a very realistic looking human. One of the things that we're able to do now is subsurface scattering on the skin, which takes account of all the lighting and the real-time lighting as it changes. So quite a lot of people do subsurface scattering, but it's kind of baked in or fixed. Now if the lighting situation changes dramatically like this, it looks completely wrong. What we're able to do now with our real-time system is have it change as the lighting changes, and you get this kind of translucency where the skin would be thinner, the light might pass through a little bit more. It just gives it a much more realistic look. You can also see some interesting stuff we're doing with the eyes there, very realistic, nice kind of reflective surfaces. We even have the pupils even dilate based on the amount of light in the scene. Probably going a step too far, but we think that all these little things add up to a much more strong sense of immersion, a much better feeling of immersion.